Mental health check 1, check. Mental health check 2, mental health check 3. Mental health check, Kathleen, check.
I'm
How's
still nuts,
Kathleen?
but whatever.
How's your mental health?
It's all right. I'm still nuts, but whatever. It's fine. Everything is like, we're definitely postponing the wedding. We totally figured that out because it's like, we won't get to have like what we want to have. So that's fun.
I think, yeah, it should be. You don't want a socially distanced wedding. You don't want to be
No.
like, Sean can come, but his wife can't because the seat has to be empty and all that.
Yeah, we're just gonna have like a little baby ceremony in the summer, and then we'll have a party on our 1 year anniversary or something.
Oh my!
I don't know.
Oh my God, COVID! What do you have in store next?
This just sucks. I just like, is it not over yet? Like we're almost at a year, because I remember it was like March 16th that it was about, maybe not quite this time, but there were like people talking about, and I was definitely a COVID denier. I'm like, you guys, it's not that big a deal. It's not that big a deal. Stop freaking out about this. And then like on March 16th, it was like, yeah, we're all gonna die alone in our apartments.
We're all gonna die.
Well, I think that's the great part about being a non-scientist is, we were all COVID deniers. Like the very last show that I did was in Winnipeg, and like 2 days later the world shut down, and I was on stage like talking about like, oh no, the COVID's gonna come and get us. Everybody's so scared, better put on some hand sanitizer. Like I was joking around about everything, like, and 2 days later, whammo. So yeah,
Whammo.
only scientists saw it coming. It's like a financial collapse, right? It's like only financial advisors see that coming, Everybody else is just like, you have to live in a bubble where you just assume everything's going to be fine. Otherwise, like you'd be in you'd fucking kill yourself.
Exactly. We're all just in this little bubble, and hopefully this bubble bursts soon.
I think you should start writing. I don't know. I was thinking about a business opportunity for us. Because suicide notes, I don't really like the idea of a suicide note because it can float away, right? It's just a note. It can I think it needs to be more robust, so we could write like suicide cards. So it's like you're saying goodbye to everybody, but it's already written out for you, and you just have to sign it at the bottom.
Oh, that'd be kind of a good idea. Is if like, yeah, you get like, because so I bought all these save the date cards. It cost me about $290, and they're all garbage now, like just garbage. So that's what I would do is I would get like but we could do like a save the date thing. Like you could say, I'm going to kill myself on the 5th, and then mail the cards out, and then one by one, everyone finds out.
If you want to come.
Yeah.
Let us know. RSVP if you want to come. Exactly. And do you want to come to my suicide?
Oh no, that would be bad.
No, that would be bad. Do you want to hear something funny that I did today?
Yes.
So I woke up and I thought I lost my engagement ring, because I remember taking it off to put some stuff in my like hair product in my hair, and I'm like, but I just was like, it's just I knew where it was, like next on the bedside table. I'm sure it's there. And then when I got up and looked and it wasn't there, and I was like, oh my God, I did it. I knew I was going to do it. I didn't think it was going to be less than a year, but I knew I was going to lose it. I was like looking everywhere. I like was freaking out. I wasn't crying yet because I'm like, no, I'll find it. It's going to be fine. I'll find it. And I was freaking out, and I'm downstairs, and the tears start to come, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe I lost my engagement ring. Where the fuck is it? And it was on my right hand. I literally like burst out laughing, cried. I laughed, cried, and I'm like, I'm getting so old that I'm like losing my mind. This COVID thing is making me lose my mind. But I was just like, that's the funniest thing ever. Like that. And that is such an on brand thing for me to do. Like I just
check your hands first.
Exactly.
Why was it on your right hand? Is it normally worn on your left?
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe when I was doing the hair thing, I put it back on this. I don't know. And it was there the whole time. And I think I was even playing with it while I was looking but it wasn't.
Oh my God.
But it wasn't on my left hand, so I freaked the fuck out. This is why I can't have a big, like, I can't imagine having like a $20,000 ring on your hand and not like constantly being in a panic. Can you imagine losing a ring that's like worth $20,000?
No, it
Can
doesn't
you
make.
imagine wearing $20,000 on your fucking hand?
It's just ridiculous. Like when I see rich people with like watches that, I'm just like, fuck off. Like what? Save a kid. Save Save a fucking village. Buy some nets to save children from malaria in Africa with your fucking. What time is it? Oh, it's fucking $80,000. I mean, 6 p.m. Like, what do you need that shit for? An accessory? Like, it's just rubbing it in everybody's face.
I think that's part of the reason I think that's what it is. You'll see rappers that spend $100,000 on like a big like necklace, and that's totally to be like, fuck you, I have tons of money and I'm wearing it around my neck. But I just like, I could not. I told Adam if he spent more than $1,000 on the ring, I'd be upset. I'd be like mad because I can't imagine spending that much money on something that I could so easily lose. Like so easily lose.
Yeah, that's fucking insane. I mean, just getting engaged is insane.
It is insane. It is insane. And also, but like the whole wedding thing, that's the one thing I'm kind of relieved about, because I'm like, we were kind of planning and it was getting to be like, we're going to have to spend so much money and blah, 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 blah. And then now I'm like, oh, we can't spend the money because it has to be small. So I guess, whoops, I wish I could have a giant party for everyone, but so at least like that.
It's got to be small, like a funeral.
Like, it's crazy. When we were talking to planners, they're like, most weddings are about $20,000. I'm like, we're really gonna 20,000? We didn't have $20,000. Like, what? Like, this is insane. Maybe this is gonna be the great reset of the world, where people are gonna like start having weddings, and they're gonna be like, oh, we don't have to have this gigantic event like everybody tells you have to have. Or like, I had a friend that posted on Instagram that she had a baby. I didn't even know she was pregnant. That's like one of the only women I've ever known that isn't every like 30 days, 7 months,
oh my
8
God.
months.
Oh, like, he's stepping on my bladder. I pee every 10 seconds. Oh, it's okay, girl. You're fucking a hero for growing a baby. You
like,
can't
I've
even
never.
fuck it up. It can't even fuck it up. That's the thing. It's like nothing to be proud of. It's growing inside of you like a fucking, two-handed tumor. You've got nothing to fucking do with it. The only thing to be proud of is killing it, getting rid of it.
You love killing babies. Wendy is turning over in her grave right now.
Oh, Wendy's spinning around on her.
Wendy's up there watching all the dead babies right now in heaven.
Oh, they're beautiful angels. They're beautiful angels. I don't know. Do you think aborted babies go to heaven or hell?
Well, I don't know, but
I just like that you thought about it.
Well, what do they look like though?
Maybe
like these,
they go to hell. That'd be the worst. Like, what did I fucking do? Like, sorry, it's a family.
Maybe they all go to hell, and then all the women that have abortions have to go and sit in a room of fetuses for the rest of their eternity in hell because they killed a life.
They have to work at a fucking aborted fetus daycare center.
I hope that I go through my life and I don't kill anyone.
Aw.
Not everyone can say that.
Not everybody can say that, no. I don't think you'd have, what have you been fucking doing? Did you do anything this week? I haven't done anything. I've just been relaxing, looking for jobs.
Yeah. My job apparently is open and busy again. So I'm like working there next week and it's supposed to be busy. But I guarantee you I'm not gonna reap any of the benefits, because like even when it's busy, my tips have gone down like astronomically. It's insanity. Like I used to make a lot, like good. Sometimes I make $100 a day in the summer on a day shift, and now I think my last tips for 2 weeks was $20.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because they pull the tips and it's all split between everybody. Like we don't tip out the kitchen just gets a percentage of all the tips. So it's just like everybody is getting tipped out
Weird too,
terribly
because
right
like
now.
this pandemic has been so strange in terms of like, there's a lot of people with way less money, and then there's other people with way more money, right? There's a lot of people that are like, fuck, what do I do with all this money that I have in this pandemic? Because I've been working and I can't go to Cancun anymore.
Yeah, fuck those people. Fuck the people with too much money.
Yeah, so you're reading stories and you're like, oh, it's hard on everybody. And it's like, no, not really. It's not an evenly distributed pain. It's a weird kind of like,
Yeah.
it's a strange one.
We're all in this, but everybody is experiencing different levels of hardness.
Yeah, the only thing is like if you're working from home, it's weird because how are businesses going to react to this in the longer term when they're like, oh, you could just do this at home, like, so I don't need to have you. I could fucking hire 10 people from India to do it.
I mean, that we're going to see so much of that. We're going to see people that are going to be moving out of big cities because you don't have to live and pay rent in these big cities anymore. You can go move to a small town and work remotely and come into your office job once a month. Like it's like there's going to be things like they're going to outsource, but also there's going to be way more people that are going to be able to like live comfortably because they don't have to live in Toronto or Vancouver and spend like thousands of dollars a month in rent. Like if you're making up like $100,000 a year and you can't live, that's weird.
But if you like working at home sucks, right? Like Jim, you work at home, like you'd way rather be in the office interacting with humans, right?
It's like I go back and forth on it, we have like, we're still like chatting throughout the day and stuff. And it's kind of nice working from home, but I'm single, no kids, right? So that's a different thing too.
Yeah, the people with kids are like, going to the office was my escape. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. And then like are the kids back in school now?
I think so. Yeah, they are.
Fucking, yeah. The cowards are. The fucking cowardly children who wear the face slavery.
They're back in school.
Jewels. Oh my God. Fucking sometimes I'll get on Twitter and just like read stuff and you're like, what is happening? Like, it's just fucking insanity. I mean, I get that, and the problem is it's like, like you said, in the pandemic, for me, I'm over it in terms of just like even thinking about it, like, I wear a mask as a reflex when I go out. But it is funny how you'll have like, there's two sides of the coin where if you go indoors and there's a person not wearing a mask, you're like, what the fuck? And then there's another group of people who, if they see somebody outside with a mask, they're like, what the fuck? Like they get so mad.
I don't get mad about anybody, like unless you're not wearing a mask, and then I get annoyed. But like when I see people wearing masks outside, I'm like, I choose to not. But like if you really want to, no one should like say what the fuck to somebody if they're wearing a mask outside. Everyone should just keep their mouth shut, actually.
I saw that I was in Canadian Tire today and there was a guy who worked there not wearing a mask. And I was like, I wonder what his deal is. Like, what could your excuse be for no masks? Like, what is it? Like, oh,
he worked there and he wasn't wearing a mask?
Yeah, he worked there. He worked in the fucking mechanic. He was the mechanic guy that was like, those guys that work at the front and they're like, oh, it's going to cost $860 to fix that. Fucking, that guy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't wearing a mask. And I just looked at him and it's like, what could your excuse be as an employee to be like, what disease is it? Like, I'm just trying to think of what, like, because I know the people are like, oh, it's anxiety. Like, well, fucking everybody has that.
Everybody has anxiety. Everybody hates wearing these fucking masks, but we have to keep wearing them because fuckheads like him won't wear them. Like, and it's like never ending. It's ridiculous.
But then you're like, well, can I take mine off? I mean, you work here and you're not wearing it. I should be able to fucking chill out and take mine off too.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the lines on the grocery store floor. When I see the employees not following them, I'm like, game over.
Oh, I stopped paying attention to those months ago because everybody did. I remember at first to be like, oh God, I'm going the wrong way down this aisle.
Oh, sorry,
and you turn around and run. But now it's
sorry, everybody. I'm new to Home Depot. I'm sorry.
Fuck these arrows. I'm wearing a mask. That's good enough.
But you would have people look at you like, are you fucking crazy? You're not supposed to come down where the screws are that way. Ah.
You know what is happening all the time is if you're in line, if it's an old person behind you, they're right up on you. Like right up behind you. It bothers me. Cause like
Yeah.
I don't have like enough in me to turn around and say something, but I'm just like, okay, you're old. You're the one that should be following the rules the most. We're following these rules to protect you. And now
Maybe
you're
it's
just
a
like
vaccinated badass.
Yeah.
my grandma got vaccinated this week, I think.
Did she?
Yeah, my grandma did. First round.
How
Round
old,
one.
how old is your grandma?
She's like, oh God. I don't know. She's like got to be in her 90s, 93.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she's motoring around. She walks around the block every day.
Maybe that's what you got on the cards. Maybe you're gonna live to. Do you think you'll be up there at 90?
I don't know. I mean, if COVID is any indication of what it's like to be an old person, I want to die young, because because COVID is basically, like, I was thinking about this the other day. I'm like, every day I wake up and I'm like, well, I guess I'll have a coffee and then I'll maybe walk to the corner and buy a paper, and like it's like we're all retired and we're all stuck in, and it's like boring, and I'm losing my mind. So like, getting older just means that we're just all going into quarantine.
Well, being is actually way worse because you're old, A, and everything hurts, and B, because like comedy would be happening all around you and you wouldn't be booked for any of it.
No.
There'd be like every person on your fucking old person Facebook would be like, I'm gonna be in, fucking Winnipeg this weekend, and you'll be like, they don't return my emails since I turned 74. That new manager won't get back to me. Oh, you'll be fucking 87 at Rivercrest and complaining to everybody like, that new guy at the Calgary Yucks is really he's a jerk.
Well, at least I thought I would go and
He
do
wants
comedy.
me to middle.
At least I thought I would do comedy into my 40s, but now it's like, I don't think it's happening ever again.
No, it's happening. You'll be back.
I don't remember my act at all. I think about the same amount of time as before, but like this time it's different because it's not the whole, like some places are open, there are some people still working, and it's like up and down all over the place. So it's just like, ugh. I haven't written anything new. I know that's what I should be doing, sitting there writing and stuff, but I'm like, no, I have no motivation to do anything at all.
No, it's not like everybody's sitting on a new hour. They're going to come back with the same shit. And then if you talk about COVID, if you're the third person up on a show, forget it.
Yeah, it's already been talked about a million
times. Everybody's got their mask joke, and you're like, this is the 19th mask joke of the fucking show tonight. Uh-oh. It'll just be in small towns where you could do COVID material until 2050, and fucking little towns will be like, yeah, fucking rights. That was stupid when those liberals made us do that.
Honestly, if I could make like $1,000 every weekend, just going to a small town and telling jokes at a bar, that's my dream. Okay, like that's all I need to do. Like I don't need to be in Just for Laughs. I don't need to be on TV. If they want to do that stuff for me, great. But I just want to like get back on the road. I just want to go back and have fun again, because stand-up comedy in small towns can be awful sometimes, but sometimes it can be a lot of fun. And I just miss being able to have fun.
It just depends how broke you are. Like comedy when you're broke isn't fun.
No.
Comedy when you've got a little money in your jeans is like, it's kind of fun. Like we're in a small town. But yeah, like I think the brokest road trip I ever went on, it was like I was going to Grand Prairie, and I think I only had $500 left in my life. And the rental car company put a $300 hold on my credit card.
Yeah.
For the rental car. And then when I got to Grand Prairie, they put a $200 hold
on the hotel.
So I'm like, I literally have zero. Like I'm a fucking 30-some-year-old man on the road. Like those shows aren't fun when you're like, no, I have zero. That's what I've got. Hey, want to go for beer after the show? Nope. I think I'll just have some fucking water out of my bathroom sink and try not to jump out of the window.
I've had that. Like broke once when I went to Niagara Falls when I first moved to Toronto, and I was like literally like I was there Thursday till Sunday morning, Thursday night till Sunday morning, and I had only money to get gas because you don't get paid there, you get paid the next week from the office. So I didn't even have the idea that I'd have money after the last show, and I had no food. I literally like ate nothing the whole weekend. Like I've never been like that before, and it's just like, why are we doing this? But yeah, those ones suck. But then the ones that are when you have a little bit of money, you can have fun. Those ones are fun.
You remember the I remember there was this one like classic story of like Roseanne, the mom on Roseanne. Did I ever tell this story on the podcast before? I
I
don't
don't
know.
think
Like,
so.
I was working with the mom from Roseanne. Do you remember? You know who that character? I
Yeah.
guess she's probably dead by now. But back then, I think it was like maybe like 2005, 2006. She was touring and she was at the Calgary Yuck Yucks. And at that time, they were running like a scoundrel system, where they would pay you early, but they would keep a percentage. So like it happened so frequently that comedians would come in and they'd have a week off. They'd be going and doing the club that weekend, but they would have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off to sit at the hotel. And they'd be like, fuck, I don't have any money. I wonder if I can get paid for this weekend's shows
Now,
beforehand. And Yuck Yucks under like Judy Sims and Nancy Bevan was like, absolutely, we'll pay you 70% of your fee, and then that's it.
what do you
And
mean? And then they don't get the rest, the
yeah,
other 30?
and then you don't get it. Yeah, so we'll pay you early, but you don't get all of it. If we
Oh.
That's disgusting. Are you fucking kidding me? That makes me very angry.
But this lady, this Roseanne's mom, she wasn't having it. She was like, no, fuck that. Like, so she was like, so she asked for the money early. And she didn't have anything, had no money, like obviously spent the Roseanne money, it was gone. And all she had for the entire week was a large jar of strawberry jam.
Oh my God.
And that's what she ate in her off week, was a giant jar of strawberry jam.
No bread, just the jam?
That's all she had was jam.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
And once in a while they would take pity on her and let her have the buffet at the hotel, like for free. Like
once in a while, fuck.
Yeah, like she'd go there and be like, I'm really in a tough spot, blah blah blah. And they'd be like, sometimes the server would be like, come on, have some eggs, bitch. Like but for the most part, she was just in her room, just eating. Fuck, once in a while I'm kind of hungry, and then go grab the Smucker's jar and take 3 spoonfuls and then go to sleep.
That makes me so sad. Because like, you know what? If she had become famous, that would be a funny story to tell on a couch on a late night talk show. And all people that have done comedy have a story like that. But like most of us, our stories stay sad because we never make it.
Well, I mean, and that one's maybe in some ways even more sad because that's on your way down.
Yes.
Right? Like she was famous, she was on television, she did have money, and here she is on her way down, on the down escalator of her career, eating strawberry jam in a hotel room in Calgary, Alberta, Canada.
Oh, the down escalator terrifies me. Because we see the down escalator all the time, and it's upsetting and sad, and it makes you want to it makes you understand what some people are like, I'm going to bow out early. People are like, oh, they were still doing well, blah, 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 because they don't want to hit that down escalator that eventually turns into a slide that shoots you right out.
I should have mentioned though that it was a double fruit. Like it wasn't one of those ones. It wasn't one of
strawberry one.
Yeah, it would have huge strawberry chunks in it too, because it wasn't just like one of those gelatin, like where it's all just red jelly. It wasn't one of those. It had nice big sugary strawberry chunks in it, so it wasn't all bad. But
she was getting some fiber.
Yeah,
Zero.
No, there was fruit. I mean, there was fruit. There was plenty of fruit in there.
Like, I remember when comics used to tell us, oh, you can make instant noodles in your coffee pot. And when we were newer, like, that's hilarious. That's fun. And then now that I'm hearing that, I'm like, that's sad. That's sad that we have to make soup in our fucking coffee pots because we're not making any money at all.
Well, and then you get tax advice from comedians where they'd be like, hey, you know what? Don't declare any of it. And you're like, what the fucking what? You know, like they just wouldn't do their tax. Like, you know, there was so many just delinquents, right? It was just like an industry filled with people that just were, you know, like when you put, it's like, oh, they're social misfits. And it's like, yeah, well, they're social misfits, but they don't understand anything about business. They don't learn anything. They're just getting manipulated into, you know, like that's why the industry, it's changing now. Like there's better people involved in the industry now, I think. But when we were coming up, the people that were in charge were scoundrels, right? Like, so every part of this was a ripoff.
And ripping comics off. Like I would hear stories about like, you know, that the reason they never put, well, they still don't, nobody ever put percentages of how much the agents are getting for anything. We just assumed that they were being dickheads.
Or like rental cars, right? Like you get a rental car, but you had to get it through this one specific agency. And, you know, then you'd find out years later, like, oh, there was like an extra fee on top of that that was going to the person who booked me to do the show. They were making money, like they were making money off of me renting from here. And they
Yeah.
presented it to me as like, oh, you should go through there. We got a good deal there.
I remember once
more expensive.
doing a Bob Angeli gig. First of all, he asked me, I think the show was in like, what's that, Grand Cache? And first of all, he asked me if I would deliver posters to Edson and I think also Jasper, which is like an hour out of my way.
Oh my God.
I'm like, I'll take the ones to Edson because we're driving through there, but I'm not taking them to Jasper posters. And then he goes, oh, and can you please take my Air Miles card or Petro points and fill up at Petro Canada? I'm like, fuck no. Like, you're not giving me gas money. You're not getting my points.
No, well, yeah. And like, that was par for the course, was like people just like, hey, can you do this? Or can you do that? Like, and just when you push back, they're like, okay, like I won't work with you again. Like what I need is somebody to drop these fucking posters off. I don't care about the show. Like the show is nothing. I don't care if it's terrible or great. It doesn't matter. What I need is somebody to drop these fucking posters off in Jasper. You know, like that's it. That's the whole deal. Is like, well, if I mail them, it's $8. But if I get this bitch to go there, then, you know, and if you had said yes, he would have like contacted you all the time and been like, she's great show. I think, I don't know if she, I heard she's really funny. She's one of my top people because she.
Oh, I got booked because I got booked because I had a car and I was nice and I kind of just said yes to everything. Like whenever I see new comics be like, oh, I'm not doing that shit. I'm like, I wish I could have been like that. I wish I could have been like, I'm not doing Bob Angeli shit.
There used to be a lot more road work.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I don't think there's a whole lot of road work for the younger comedians coming up now. Like, it's not like back then it was like, you know, one weekend you could be in Grand Cache or Red Deer or, you know, fucking Fort St. John or Grand Prairie. Like you could be all over the place, but you'd be getting like $75 and driving somebody who'd be sleeping in your car.
Yeah. Or complaining about how every comedian fucked them over. I had a comic that his name was Roger Chandler. He passed away, not with me, but since then. But I remember I met him in the parking lot of Gateway Lanes where the Comedy Factory was. And Bob was like, this is Roger. And this man who looked like Santa Claus, like he had white hair and a white mustache. And he looked like he could be my grandfather. And he was really nice, but he complained about he said that Carrot Top stole his act. Every comic I brought up, he'd be like, yeah, that asshole. Like every comic.
Oh, even if you want to hear about that fucking
every single comic. Oh, and then when we did Grand Prairie together and then Fort St. John the next night. So Grand Prairie, we were in the casino, we're walking around and all these people are like looking at me funny. I think I might have told this already, but like they're looking at me like weird. And then I realized I'm like, oh, they think I'm like an escort. Walking around with this old man holding his bag for him. Jesus he was Christ. A very nice man, but it was like I the older you get, the more bitter you get. It's just inevitable, right? Because like slowly you go from being really, really, really well respected and working a lot to slowly being phased out. That's exactly what happens to all of us, right? It's even happens to like Louis C.K.'s, and like it happens to all of us. That's why comics that die young or die in the prime of their career are never forgotten. Like Sam Kinison died prime of his career. He'll always be a legend. But I guarantee you, if Sam Kinison was alive today, like people wouldn't be saying great things about him.
No,
so
you'd be eating strawberry jam at the fucking Motel 6 in
yeah,
yeah, like
screaming into the jar.
He used to fucking.
It is a really fun at first, but very sad business. Like in the beginning, it's so much fun, and throughout it, it's pretty good time. And then when you get older, it's like, okay, I have no skills left. I didn't put any money away, and now I'm going to go work at a 7-Eleven.
Yeah, this is fun. This is a good way to end. This is a great way to end my fucking career. Is just, yeah, I'm a comedian, but I work at Sev now. Things of sometimes I have shows on the weekend, but yeah, and then you're on social media and there's guys that you're like, that guy used to open for me, and now he's fucking doing better than I did, and I work at Sev.
I haven't been on social media. That's the one thing. I didn't post about the episode last week just because I haven't been on social media. I should get back on just for the podcast, but like
a blackout.
It's been actually quite nice.
It's smart, right? It's a good, like, you forget the impact that information has on your brain and your body. Just taking it, totally. It's just like food. It's just like eating shitty food. It's just fucking McDonald's for your brain. And we're just like, kind of wired to like, yeah, fucking sure, let's go on there and have another root beer. Like, but it really is just strawberry jam right into your fucking cranium. It's not good. And then 3 hours later, you feel like shit, and you're like, kind of like, fuck, And it's stuff that we're not even supposed to know. We're not even supposed to know. Like, we're not wired to know all this. We're not supposed to. Like, we're fucking, like we're monkeys. We're not supposed to have all the tragedy. Like, imagine if other species, like giraffes or whatever, were like, had this thing in their hands and they saw all the giraffe tragedy from
every giraffe that got eaten by a lion.
Like every elephant got to see like, oh my God, another one without tusks. Like if every animal got to see all the tragedy in the world happening to their species at any given fucking time, they'd fucking just die. Like they just fucking lay down in a puddle and die. They'd be like, we're not supposed to know all this.
No, we're not. It's killing people. It's making people like, and it's ruining people's personalities too. Like in so many different ways. Like narcissism is through the roof. Everyone on social media is a narcissist. I don't care what you say. You're a narcissist if you're on social media and you're posting all the time. I'm a narcissist. It's just like but it's through the roof. Like it used to be just a few people, but now everybody is a complete narcissist, and it's ruining people's personalities. Like it's making people gross.
But it's still more fun than not, right? That's the problem. Is it's like, once you unplug from social media, you're like, well, now what do I do? Watch television? Why did I watch Santa Barbara yesterday? What the fuck?
Well, now I have Disney Plus and Star. Did you hear about that?
Disney Plus sucks. Like, what do I want to
watch?
No,
it doesn't. Not now.
I don't want to watch
As of yesterday, they have this new thing on it called Star, and it's like got every single movie I've been looking for, every single television show. Like it's crazy. It's got everything on there. Really? I'm probably going to cancel Netflix.
You know what documentary really was maybe the worst doc I've ever fucking seen in my life was that the hotel, the one about the Cecil Hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, with the girl with the body, like in the water tanks or whatever.
Yeah, it should have been like a 10-minute. It should have been in a 10-minute documentary about a woman with mental health issues who stopped taking her medication, and like that should have been.
It seemed like it was some supernatural shit.
Yeah, they just stretched it out and made it like
It took me a while to get through it because when I watched the first episode, about like halfway through or so, they start talking about like personal life of the detective, and he's like, I believe in Jesus Christ, and I started thinking, what am I watching? Like, why are we learning about this? There was a lot about each of the detectives' like backstory, and it's kind of like, well, I don't care.
Well, and a lot of it was like there were simple explanations for every inconsistency, and they just didn't show you, right? Like, so
Yeah.
they were like, why is this covered up? Why is the image slowed down?
Oh,
Why,
the other
and you're
thing that,
like, and
yeah,
it's
the
just
other thing that
easy.
bothered me was like they're like, oh yeah, so we have this footage and we released this footage. And up to that point, they hadn't mentioned that there was anything weird about the footage. And then it's like, oh, and internet sleuths noticed that she was darting around like a psycho. Really? Like that? It was like they were trying to hide
Yeah.
this story, and then like for the big reveal, and you're just kind of like, yeah, a lady with mental health issues.
Well,
It was
yeah,
just gross that people were drinking that water.
yeah. Well, the whole thing was a lie, really. Like, I felt like I just got ripped off of 4 hours. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because they presented it as like, here's a woman with mental health issues, but she was working on it, and she was proactive in trying to be healthy, and she died under mysterious circumstances in this hotel where serial killers fucking lived, and you're
I
like,
thought they
oh,
were going to
crazy.
show more about, like, I wanted to know like the history of the hotel and all the awful things that happened. I didn't want I like by like the fourth episode I was like, okay, this girl died, but what else happened here?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, towards the end, they're just sort of like, oh, and also she stopped taking her medication.
Right. That's what I was gonna say. Is there like, yeah, that was the big. It's like, okay, well, you could have mentioned that in the first 10 fucking minutes. Is
Yeah.
that the girl stopped taking her medication and was freaking out in the lobby prior to going to the roof and jumping into a fucking tank?
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you could have mentioned that in the first 10 fucking minutes.
Do you think that she just went swimming?
I think
Did you
she was hiding out, like she just was like, this is a good place to hide, this is a
because
pretty fun place.
was she naked? She was naked in there, or she wasn't.
She was naked, yeah.
She was,
So
but like the water goes up and down, and they figured it was just like she'd been in there long enough that she could have.
I just felt like by the end of it, I thought, well, maybe she just was in a manic episode, stripped down, went skinny dipping in a water tank and drowned.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly pretty much what happened. Like, she probably thought somebody was after her and had these manic episodes, but it was like, well, you had these three. What was this documentary about? It was like, oh, the homelessness around there. It's quite a dangerous area. Like, it reminded me of listening to one of my dad's stories where it's like, get to the fucking.
Yeah.
And then another thing about, you heard about that girl that died? Yeah, what girl? Some Asian. Anyway, it was in an area of town where Dad, what the fuck happened to the girl? There was a guy also who was a metal singer, and some guys thought it was he did it, but it turned out he didn't do it. But there was also a serial killer, and you just get to the fucking what happened to her. She was off her meds and jumped in a fucking tank and died. I'm just trying to tell a fucking story. You never want to talk anymore.
It's about the details.
Like, the documentary was just a senior's tale that just woven. And I remember I went to high school with this guy. Just fucking what happened.
That
Like,
being said, I think that would be a good idea for a show, is just to have that old person describe stories we all know and things we all saw happen. Just hear it from. So there was a guy and fucking okay, and and he jumped in the yeah.
There was an elevator video where she was dancing like one of those space dances. Like, you dance on the moon, and it was slowed down for no reason. They couldn't figure it out. Actually,
there should be a documentary series of like older people telling stories.
Yeah.
It's it's like Netflix. It's one of those like jump the shark things where like true crime is such a hot thing right now. It's like everybody consumes so much true crime shit. But we've talked about this in other podcasts where you run out of true crime stuff that happened long enough ago that the whole thing wasn't just figured out immediately because the whole thing was covered by CCTV and phones and like, so you run out of shit. So you go back in time. You have to go way back in time to find one where it's like, it's a mystery. We don't know. and you pull this, this is what you're gonna pull out of your ass. Like some fucking lady just jumped in a tank and you knew it right from the beginning, but you create this dumb scenario.
How much money
Like,
does Netflix have? Because they just churn shit out.
oh God, like, and the production value was great, but it was just like, you know, the family wasn't involved. It was just like interviews with these old like Christian detectives that, you know, like it's just fucking dumb. And then this poor metal singer, like, death to the Grecian girl, you know, like he just happens to have these fucking stupid song, death to the Canadian Asian girl. And then and then fucking almost kills himself, like, I just am a songwriter. Like, fucking, wow, it was a little close, Chucky, you know? Death to the Canadian Asian bipolar woman. I was just riffing. And then these fucking internet people ruined my life. I don't know, buddy. That song's a little close. You jumped in a tank.
Check the water tank on the roof. The metal singer's singing about a water tank.
I pushed the Asian girl into the water. and then they're like, yeah, I think he killed her. And he's like, who? What the fuck? No, I just write terrible music. That's all I do. I just have horrific videos and terrible music, and I'm not really an artist. I'm just a goth guy with a guitar.
I love it.
And then he had to get a job at Sav eating fucking jam every night because these internet sleuths ruined his life.
If I had to spend money on one thing that I had to eat over and over, I don't know if it would be strawberry jam.
I think she just happened to have it, right? I don't think she went to his store with $8 and said, fuck it, I'll get the jam. I think it was like a gift from a cast member from Roseanne. Like, it was just all she had left.
Jam.
All the crackers in her pantry were gone. So it was just like, fuck it. Maybe she got to the border and they were like, you can't have all these fucking crackers. And, you know, the only thing she was able to hide from them was the jam.
Maybe.
I don't know, but all she had was jam. And that is a sad story. You know what I mean? Because you'd think you'd go to Money Mart at that point. Like, fuck it. I want some bread to put on this jam. I'm going to go to Money Mart.
If I was that poor, I probably would start going to funerals because there was always lunch at funerals. We were at we were at a funeral. It was like a family funeral, and it was all the cousins sitting together, and like this older couple came and sat with us, and they were like, "Oh, this is like delicious food," and then they're like, "We have another funeral at 2." Like, what do you mean? Like, they were funeral hopping. Like, instead of bar hopping, now they're funeral hopping.
Hey.
But there's good food at funerals, and no one's gonna come up to you and be like, "How did you know they're deceased?" Like, everyone, you know, like, you've been to funerals before. It's like huge. Everyone like kind of like just.
All you got to do is walk in and figure out the gender of the dead person, and then, you know, like, he's at peace now.
We should instead of doing a movie called Wedding Crashers, let's do one called Funeral Crashers.
Yeah, we just go to different funerals, and you know, it could be like, you know how those it could be on the Food Network. Right?
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we go in, and then we're like, so who's the caterer? And then we talk to the caterer and like, oh, how do you make your tuna sandwiches? And then we eat it like, wow. And then other people that are mourning were like, what do you think of the tuna melt? And they're like, I don't know, my dad is fucking dead, you know?
We could call it mortuaries, funeral homes, and dives.
Yes.
Ah.
And dies.
and dies.
Dies, yeah. Oh my God.
And dies.
I remember, did you go to funerals when you were a kid? Like, when your family, like, your mom's aunt or something?
I really always avoided funerals. I really like any memorial stuff. Like, I'm a coward that way. Like, when it comes to things like that, I'm like, I can't go. I cannot go. I cannot.
I was like my mother's date to every single family funeral or friend prayer service. I used to go with my mom to and I saw so many dead bodies when I was a kid, because it would always be like at the end of the funeral, you walk up and there's the person in the casket, then you walk by. Like, that's why I want to be cremated. I don't need people to stare at my dead body. Like, it's weird. And we were Ukrainian, so there's always be these Ukrainian Orthodox funerals where they would have this like incense bomb that they would like just like shake and it would go everywhere. And I almost like passed out at a funeral once when I was a kid because there was like so much incense in this tiny Ukrainian church. It was, if I smell that smell now, it'll make me want to throw up.
I want to be buried like with my CPAP on and like wearing a condom and just having, I want to be buried like a Viking, you know, like with all this like fake memorabilia and fake war memorial shit.
You should have to be naked.
Totally naked. Open.
That was a weird thing, was picking out what my mom was going to. They were like, do you want her to, and she was cremated and they still wanted her in an outfit.
I want to be buried in a prison uniform.
Like an orange one?
An orange jumpsuit.
Orange is the new dead.
And the casket is half open and it's the bottom half. So people walk by and just see my fucking gross feet and orange pants. And they're like, what in the fuck is this? I can just see his fucking feet, but they have my feet up on a pillow like it's my head.
Caskets are so expensive.
There's flowers around my feet, and you know, there's a picture on my legs of my feet.
I thought wedding dresses were expensive. Caskets are expensive.
I don't really want an expensive one. I just like, you know, just in a fucking green bin. You know, you know, those bags that you have for what is it called? Disposable. What is it? Like
blue bags?
Not a blue bag, not a recycle bag. I don't like recycle bags, but just
the compost bag.
Compost bag, yeah. Just put me in a fucking compost bag, cut me up.
That's what we should do, Sean. We should become morticians and like we should buy a funeral home. Those people make so much money. It's ridiculous how expensive it is to die.
Why didn't we get involved in that? Like it's just
we still can. We're young in the funeral world.
That's true.
Yeah, that's true. Because all you have to do is be like, hi there, hi, hey, hi. I think the reason is because it's really hard to wake up Monday morning and just it's like fucking grief. And then wake up Tuesday morning and it's grief. And Wednesday is grief. And Thursday,
it's not your grief.
It's not grief, but it's like grief by associate. It's like social media. It just bleeds into you. Like it just.
But you probably would also, it would kind of get desensitized to it. You probably would eventually be like, they're in a better place. Everything is blah, blah, blah. I know how difficult this is. I think it would be hard if it was like having to deal with children. That would be impossible for me to deal with. Like
it would be, I think it's similar to like, I don't know if you have ever watched that movie. You should watch it. It's really uplifting. That Shoah film that I always talk about.
Oh.
The documentary about 9-hour documentary about the Holocaust.
Oh, it's really uplifting.
But there's one part of it where the Jews who disposed of all the other Jews, they started to want Jews to come in because if a train came in filled with Jews, they would get like turkey, chicken, fucking stuffing. They would get like a 3-course meal.
Why?
That was their reward for that day. They would get like, you know, they would have a delicious breakfast and a great lunch and a fucking 3-course meal at night with salad forks and soup and fucking, you know, all the trimmings. And if they didn't, they ate dog shit. They ate fucking, you know, broth with maggots in it. So psychologically, you start to like when a train comes filled with Jews, they started to be like, yeah, like they would be excited because they knew it was fucking turkey time, you know?
Oh my God.
So I think it's similar to, you know, what happens at funeral homes where like, if people aren't dying, you're like, fuck, like we need death, man. And then somebody calls you like, my dad died. And you're like, yeah, fucking yes. Sorry. Hello.
I'm going to meet my quota this month.
I'm so sorry for your loss. Yes. Woo! I'm sorry that happened to you and your family. Would you be available to come? Yeah, yes. You know, you'd be fucking.
We're going to Cancun.
Kids, we're going to Mexico. Somebody died. Yeah.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Just when I started to think everybody was going to live forever in this town. Wow.
We should open a pet funeral home because honestly, most people are not having children anymore. They're having pets.
You're right. Why don't we have a
And
pet?
people are spending so much money on their animals.
You'd have to move to like Kitsilano or some shit. You know, you'd have to move to some fucking trendy, super rich, yuppie part of Vancouver and just have little kitty cat caskets.
I don't know. I think that like it would go well. I don't think that's such a like a rich I think that most people, if you had a little package and you could have a little puppy funeral, they do it. So many people, especially like all these oil guys, are attached to their one dog, and then the dog dies, and they're like, you know, they'll put their money down for that.
Put me in with it. Put me in with that animal.
All I'm saying is that we could make a fortune off death, whether it's animal or human.
We could start making caskets that have like a little sidecar. You know? So when you die, you're in your own big human casket, but there's just a little block of wood on the outside that Dottie and Eugene go into.
Oh my God.
So when you die,
my dogs to die when I die.
Well, when you die, we euthanize them, right?
No.
And then so if you
Dottie's right here, close your ears.
If they die first, then we freeze them and wait till you die and then put them in the casket with you.
I think she's dead right now.
Layer just like that. And if you die first, we'll euthanize.
You killed her, Sean.
Hmm?
You killed her.
I didn't kill Dottie. I wouldn't do. Hopefully you outlive your dogs, right? I mean, shit.
That would mean I'm probably dead in about 10, 15 years. Oh, she's alive.
Yeah, I don't know why I always bring up like horrible, like that movie, dude. Don't even watch it, Showa. Like if you like sadness, watch it. But if you don't, because there's a lot of stuff in there where you're like, wow.
Yeah, I don't want to watch that.
At least it's more real than that fucking Cecil Hotel bullshit. Like that was just awful.
I guess that would be a test. If you take an edible and watch Showa, could you laugh?
No. There's not a single moment where you could possibly go, okay, now that was funny. The part where the part where they could hear the children screaming.
Oh my God.
In town. That was the good one.
Oh my God. Awful. Speaking of edibles, we have to do our plug for this week for Northern Queen. Northern Queen. They want us to do the coupon code because they want people to have to listen to the show. That's
brutal.
See, I have a marketing diploma and I knew that. So that's why you guys didn't get it. You didn't go to Nate for marketing. But
yeah, it's really paid off.
I think that the coupon code this week is going to be strawberry jam.
Yes.
And it's going to be valid from February 27th to March 4th for 15% off any order from Northern Queen. They deliver everywhere in Canada, and they they mail everywhere in Canada. They deliver in Edmonton on Fridays, and they're on Facebook, Northern Queen. This week we got peanut butter cups that are 30 milligrams each, and gummy bears that are 15 milligrams each. I had a peanut butter cup last night before bed, and it not only is tasty, I almost wanted to have another one, but I'm like, I would be dead right now because it was so. I woke up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I was like in this zombie high, and I was like, I think like that's how I know the body is a wondrous machine, because I would have peed my bed if my body hadn't been like, get the fuck up, bitch.
Yeah, I puked the bed one time when I was a teenager.
You puked the bed?
Yeah, I puked the bed.
I've never puked the bed. What happened?
Did I have a wet dream out of my mouth? What the what the fuck? This is a weird I had a sex dream and I woke up and I was covered in puke.
You woke up covered in puke?
Yeah, I was drunk from the night before. You know how you always hear stories of like old rock stars that choked on their own vomit or something and died.
Yeah.
Yeah, luckily I'm a side sleeper, so that didn't happen. So I woke up in the morning in like different clothes than I went to bed. I don't remember what happened? I had to work at McDonald's. That was the thing too. I had a pizza shift at 6 a.m. I had to make pizzas. And I just woke up and I was like, what the fuck? There's puke everywhere. Who puked? Like,
Oh my
your first
God.
reaction is, who the fuck puked all over the area around my head? Who the fuck puked a perfect circle around my body?
That's
This
always
is
like
bullshit.
that was always like a scary thing for me. Like if I ever like hooked up with a dude and he was really wasted or something, or we were both drunk or something, and I worried that he would puke.
And then I also had dicks drawn all over me that night. Somebody drew Sharpie cocks all over my face, and I had to go to McDonald's at 6 a.m. and make pizzas with fucking dicks all over my face. Couldn't get it out.
Do the kids still do that? Do kids still draw dicks on passed out people?
I don't know. They probably just like steal your phone, put in the password, and take screenshots of all your texts and send it to everybody or something.
Oh my God, that's way worse. I'd rather have dicks all over my face.
Yeah, they probably do something more like high tech. There's probably more of a high tech dick on face thing now, where they pull your pants off, take pictures of your penis, and send it to your parents or something. They're just like, hey, mom, here's my dick. And then you wake up the next day and your mom's like, that's disgusting. And you're like, oh, fuck. Did somebody send you my dick and say that it was me? Damn it.
That has to be illegal. That's got to be like revenge porn is illegal now.
Yeah, but in the 90s, it was just dicks on face. So then you go in and there's no way around it, right? You're like making pizzas, putting fucking cheese on, and everybody that walks by is like, ha, and you're like, yeah, that's what, yes, I did this. What do you fucking, you think I did this?
Passage.
You think I like this?
Oh, that's kind of a rite of passage.
Yeah, that was a classic dicks on face moment. I think that was the only one I ever had because I wasn't really a pass out guy. I was get absolutely shit faced, and my thing was like I could still function. Like that was the like, oh wow, look at him, he can drink a 40, still move around. Like it was like being 103 still walking, like look at her, look at old Birdie, she's 103 and she doesn't need a walker. That was my claim to fame.
I could drink a lot. When I never passed out or got sick or anything. But
and now I literally can't even really drink alcohol.
I can drink, but not as much. Like I'll have one drink now and I'll be like, woo, because I just haven't been drinking because like my drinking is always social. I'm not one of those people that enjoys the taste of alcohol. I drink to get fucked up around people that I know and have fun. And then, but now there's no point to drinking.
I love it when people say I'm a social drinker. It's like, well, who's a fucking business drinker, you moron?
Yeah.
Like who like puts on a suit and opens their briefcase and it's a flask of whiskey. Like it's everybody's a social drinker.
But I mean, like I don't like just sitting and drinking by myself, and I don't do it.
Yeah, those are the saddest drunks, the ones who can do it themselves, the ones that can just be a one-man drinking show.
Yeah.
And the only people that know are like everybody in their family, them, and the guy at the liquor store.
And everyone that smells them.
They're like, this guy's got a problem,
Drinkers have a smell and smokers have a smell.
Did we talk about the Texas thing last week?
What's the Texas thing?
How cold it was? Like we love
talking. I'm gonna go get our scratchy ticket because I forgot it. But no, like Ted Cruz going to Cancun.
Ted Cruz a little bit.
Oh, did we talk about Ted Cruz going to Cancun?
I think so.
I forget
too, but that was pretty
great. How long ago did that happen? It was fun.
Yeah. I love it. People need to loosen up. That's what he said. It's like, oh, well.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, how fucking, that's the great thing about being loaded is you don't even really realize how tone deaf your behavior is. You're just like, well, and a lot of people in Texas were like, hey, if I could afford it, I would have done the same thing. Like, are you kidding? Like fucking going. And then you say like, oh, I was just dropping my kids off in Cancun. Like, right.
Who drops their kids off in Cancun?
Yeah. No, I didn't drop them off at the airport. I took them straight to Cancun. And there was people in Texas that died in their houses.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
How cold did it get? Like this, I'm not on social media. I don't watch the news.
Minus 20. It was like minus 20 or something. Yeah.
Ooh.
But
And
like,
they don't have like
Spain with no heat for days.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Yeah. But I mean, there is a part of me that's like, what are you talking about? Like kids died in their bedrooms, where it's like, what are the parents doing? Like, okay, kids, it's a school night. Hit the time to hit the deck. It's 8:30.
That's
Chris,
crazy.
get up. You're late for school. Oh, he's dead. Like, what are you talking about? Why did you go to sleep in -20? Like, it doesn't make sense.
So did it like it snowed and stuff, and Ted Cruz did like nothing?
Well, Ted Cruz his power went out as well, but he's loaded. So he was like, we're going to Cancun.
Yeah.
We're not going to ride this out here. We're going to go to a resort, which probably 33,000 wealthy people in Texas did at the exact same time, right? The plane was probably loaded with rich people from Texas that were going to Cancun for the week until the power was back on.
Mm-hmm.
This is why you never want to be a politician or a public figure, because you just want to be rich. You just want to be able to be an asshole and an anonymous asshole, right? Because I'm sure there's plenty of rich people that went, and it's like, that's kind of a dick move, but nobody really says anything because they're not in the public eye. But when you're in the public eye and you're rich and you do something stupid, then everybody knows and everybody calls you an asshole.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's politically stupid. Like, the whole thing was dumb. It was dumb to do that.
Especially after, like, even, it's not like at Christmas time when everyone was pissed off at the UCP, it wasn't just in Alberta that politicians were getting shit on. It wasn't just in Canada. Like, there were some incidents in the States and stuff. So, like, even still, after all the bad backlash, he still was like, no, I'm going to go to Cancun.
So
if I was rich, I would have ridden out the entire pandemic in fucking, in Cancun. I would have just,
well, there were like resorts
resort. Like, I'm worth $38 million. Like, we're just gonna live at a resort.
There were resorts in Thailand that were trying to tell people, like, come here, everything is dirt cheap. Like Brian Aylward, he's a comic that lives in Asia, but he's from Newfoundland. He was like in the middle of the pandemic. He was at a deserted resort in Thailand. He had a swim up pool. Like, it was gorgeous. And he was like spending like $12 a night to be there, like, because no one was doing it.
Right. That's unbelievable.
We should have done that.
What
are we doing?
As cheap as the Cecil Hotel for mass murderers. That's what's funny about it, is like these mass murderers would murder people and then go back to the Cecil Hotel covered in blood and just trudge on up to the 15th floor and go to sleep in their little shitty room. Like, it was just like the worst. And they were like $5 a night. What are you talking about? Like, what? I would rather, if I owned a hotel, I'd be like, leave it empty. I can't afford to have somebody coming on the walls for $4.99. This guy's fucking coming on the curtains every, like $5. It might cost me $100 to clean it.
Yeah.
We did a downtown East Side pub crawl. Adam and I and one of his friends, like, we went to all of the really like creepy hotels, and it was so much fun. But I'm sure we talked to some serial killers.
I don't know. It's fun when you're there on a pub crawl and you're just like, hey, just stopping by. A little bit different when you're like, that's my neighbor.
I watched Big again recently, and that's actually a pretty funny movie to watch now, because like when he turns big, he goes to New York to get a hotel room, and he stays at like this terrifying hotel. And it's like, I've stayed in a hotel like that during comedy.
Yeah, the best place to stay when you're doing comedy is a bed and breakfast always, like.
Are you serious?
No, because
okay,
there's always a woman who expects you there. And so for me, I like to not, like, I'll go before the show and have a shower and go do the show and leave. I don't even care if I'm in fucking Thailand. Like, I'm not going to stay over. I'd rather drive through the night.
What if you're really tired?
I don't care. Like, I'll pull over. Like, I'll drive, if I've got a 7-hour drive home, I'll drive 5 of it. And then if I'm really tired, I'll sleep for an hour on the side of the road and then keep driving. But if you're at a bed and breakfast, you'll have this lady who's like, hello, like, what do you want for supper? And it's like, I'm not going to be here. Well, I guess I shouldn't have bought all this cheese. I guess there was no point in buying a chicken. They're just glaring at you like, oh, that's fine. I guess I'm doing nothing then, and it's like,
Yeah.
because it's a small town bed and breakfast where this lady hasn't had anybody stay there in a fucking year and a half. Like, who the fuck is going to stay in this tiny little shithole unless they're a trapped entertainer?
That's exactly. I also don't like staying at like the venues owners' homes. Like, even if it's a nice house, I still don't like it. I want a hotel room. I just want to be able, or if it's a condo, I just want my own room. I like to not have to interact with everyone.
Yeah.
You want to have all your options open. And if you're staying over somewhere and you're like, that was a terrible show and I really hated everybody who was there and I just want to go home. And then it's like, well, you're staying over.
Oh, good.
I don't want to stay over anymore. There was
Well, and
one time
also,
I did a show with Paul Coffey.
yeah.
He was like doing and we were in this tiny ass fucking town. And
Paul Coffey, the hockey player?
Yeah, and I wasn't, because he's probably like fucking 10. He'll go anywhere and tell stories about Lemieux and Gretzky for $5,000, right? I mean, why not?
Yeah.
Like, it's a great life for those guys because like every hockey foundation, every hockey fundraiser, they want to do like a hot stove and they've got a budget because the Caterpillar towing in town is going to pay for coffee to come in, like. And so all he's got to do is answer 38 questions about Lemieux and Gretzky, and gets $5,000, stays at the bed and breakfast, has a few drinks. Like, so yeah, that's what. And he was staying at the bed and breakfast, and my agent got me a hotel room, and then Coffee mentioned it on stage, like, well, I'm staying at Claire's tonight, but our comedian, I guess, he's got something in his contract. He's at the Ramada or something. So anyway. And then the crowd fucking was like, as soon as I got up there, they're like, fuck this guy. Like, Paul Coffey is, he's nice enough to stay in our town.
Oh, man.
But this fucking unknown idiot, we've got to pay $100 and put him up in fucking the big city. And then I had to I was like, okay, because the crowd, I was just like, look, yes, I'm not staying at the bed and breakfast. And Coffee is, but let's be clear, his rate is 10 G's for tonight and mine is 1,500. Okay. So let's not act like. And then Coffee got mad at me because we actually started getting along later in the night once the show was over, but my actual set bombed. Like, I didn't do very well because Coffee kept saying shit about me, like,
during your set.
Well, no, like he was doing, for some reason they had me on last, which made no sense.
No sense.
They had Coffee went on first, and he's like, they kept flashing pictures of me behind him, like, because I was part of the show, and I'm like, and then he'd look at it and he'd go, "Who is that guy? Like, what is that? Who is that? What is that guy? What's he doing?" Oh, and the crowd's like, "I don't know him either. What the fuck?" And I'm in the back like, "Oh God." So my set, and then he mentioned that I wasn't staying at the bed and breakfast, and he was, and so he looked like a local hometown hero, and I looked like a piece of shit. So then my set didn't go very well because like the crowd had already been there 4 hours by the time I got on. But then I said that I would MC the silent or the auction, so like live auction. So I was like, I'll do the live auction, and then I people started to like me during the live auction. Because I just make fun of every item and pull it apart and fucking take everything out and go, what is this gift box of shit? And all the women are like, he's not supposed to open it, and then I had these Paul Coffey jerseys, and I was like, ladies and gentlemen, let's start the bidding at $4 for these fucking Paul Coffey jerseys. And then it's like, do I hear $5? Like, I'm going up by $1, and then so it was at like $1,800 or something like that. And then because I started going up by bigger increments, but then I was like, ladies and gentlemen, these are $1,800 for these Paul Coffey. Unfortunately, Mr. Coffey refuses to sign them. He will not be signing them. So it's just a Paul and then Coffey stands up like, I will fucking sign it. I will fucking sign that. And I'm like, Paul, sit down. Have a seat.
They should team every old timer NHLer with a comedian and go on the road. That would be hilarious. Who would you want to go with?
I don't know. Like, who knows? Who cares? I don't really care about any of them.
I would want to go with Jeff Bookaboom just because I wanted to be able to say Jeff Bookaboom all the time.
That is a cool name. But yeah, and so I thought Paul Coffey hated me because we had that interaction. But then the next time I worked with him, or the next time I did a show, for some reason I worked with him twice. So the next time I'm like, shit, like he's gonna fucking hate me. Last time I worked with Coffey, we didn't get along. And then when I ran into him, he's like, hey, Sean. And then like we had a conversation and like he was super nice. And, when he did his thing on stage, he's like, hey, a comedian coming up. He's fucking don't fuck with him. That's for sure. He's a fucking lunatic. But yeah, it was one of the only times I worked with a celebrity. And I'm like, I guess I got to throw Coffey under the bus. I kept like making fun of Coffey and being like, Paul will not be signing any of this.
Oh man.
Paul will not be meeting any of you after the show. Paul and his handler have left. They are already gone. And Paul's like, I'm still here. Like, I'm right here. Like Paul's already on his plane, everybody. Don't fucking, we're not in a big hurry. But yeah, everyone like, how many times have you answered the question, who's better, Gretzky or Lemieux?
Oh,
like, man. He just goes to these little shithole towns in a Quonset for 10 G's, and people go, who's better, Gretzky or Lemieux, in your opinion, Paul? Well, they were both good in their own way. Give me the fucking money, I'm gone.
And I bet you all those guys that asked that are like, nobody's ever had the balls to ask him this.
Yeah.
Well, they'll just flat out ask you, Paul, and you probably don't get this a lot, but you played with both Mario Lemieux and Wayne Gretzky, and I'm just wondering, in your opinion, who's better? Well, that's like asking me what's a better color, red or blue. They're both beautiful on dresses, depending on the girl who wears them. Good night. Give me my 10 grand. Bye. That's his life.
Sean, do you have any shows to plug this week?
Yeah, come check me out at the Calgary Yucks. I'll be on the Strawberry Jam Fest. We're gonna.
I can never get on the Strawberry Jam Fest.
I'll be strawberry jamming it up. It's an open mic jamboree filled with strawberries, and I'll be eating those for the week. No, I don't have any shows coming up. I don't miss it. I miss money, but I don't miss being up there and having people go, ew.
You don't miss it even a little bit, like when you have fun doing it?
Nah, I don't think so.
You never have fun.
No. No, laughter is just a relief, right? It's just like, phew, I bought myself another 30 seconds up here. It doesn't fill my heart with anything, It gives a shit.
Just the only thing that makes Sean's heart fill is watching Showa.
Yeah.
It's a great doc.
It's a great doc. 5 out of 5.
You guys should check it out. Well, I think we did a long time. That was too long, wasn't it?
We did enough.
This one's gonna have to be edited down. Edit out all the coffee stuff.
Keep coffee in. Keep coffee in. As long as, hey, I like doing this podcast even more now because I'm getting edibles every week.
Yeah.
It's part of my life.
Did we win the scratch card?
No, I don't think so. I had last week's too. This one's very complicated. I didn't want to keep looking down, but this one for sure we did not win on this one. I'll double check this one, but I don't think that we won on it either.
Lost all fucking hope on the scratch and wins. We haven't won anything.
I might move to Fort Saskatchewan, Sean, because I've been driving out there on Sundays to pick up the package, and I found an amazing dog park down there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, there's a good one. Yeah,
and you guys have a Friesen Brothers, which is amazing.
Friesen Bros.
You can get a half. Well, you can get a whole one, but you can get a half a banana cream pie, and they're real good.
How did they not have that as their song? Like Friesen Bros. We've got cauliflower in the deli.
Maybe that should be another. Maybe we should bring jingles back. Maybe we should contact local businesses and write jingles for
Just
them.
say, sorry, Pearl Jam, but we fucking riffed hard on this one. Freezing bros.
Maybe we'll just keep doing that, and maybe they'll sponsor us too.
Like, hey, that is a good one. What song is that from? Pearl Strawberry Jam.
That's how you know you're old, though, when your songs from your youth become like drug commercials or jingles.
Yeah.
That's when you're old.
Yeah. And we're there.
And we're there
We're in
hard.
the Strawberry Jam years of our careers, where we still have enough gumption to be like, fuck the man, I'm not taking your fucking deal. I'll be in my room eating strawberry jam. Thank you very much, Judy Sims.
I like calling them our strawberry jam years. That's a new thing now. We're gonna be calling it. We're entering our strawberry jam years.
Yep. We still got some fucking, we've got some principle and we've got some, gumption still, but we don't have any cash.
Yeah.
That's too bad.
It is too bad.
Thanks for being on your own podcast.
Thanks for joining me on your podcast.
Thanks, Northern Queen, for the peanut butter cups.
Oh, they're so good.